Guys, welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video, we're going to be going over the expected move like we always do for NIO. We're going to go over some technical analysis as well and just overall break NIO down this weekend. Now, before we get into this video, I'd like to remind you, like, comment, subscribe. Thank you guys so much for being here. Let's get right into this video. Now, if you don't know, if you haven't been following my channel, if you're a new viewer, welcome, thank you. I go over the expected move every single weekend for NIO just so we can get a feel of what it is for the week. Now, if you don't know what the expected move is, briefly, it's a range that market makers give a stock. Any stock, just does not have to be NIO. You can type in whatever brokerage you have, go to your options chain, type in it. So I have TD Ameritrade, type in the stock. In this case, of course, we're using NIO. Then you go to the options chain, you go to that week's expiration date. So upcoming Friday is March 19th. Scroll over and you see that it says plus or minus 484. Now you see that it says plus or minus. That's because it is a range. Now we're going to draw that on the chart just so you can see what it looks like. So last week, before I erase this, we did have NIO close above that first move. That is kind of important because when a stock closes above that first move, you can see crazy action happen where it moves straight to that second one. Unfortunately, this week that it did not happen, mainly because the NASDAQ was down on Friday. But if the NASDAQ wasn't down on Friday, then NIO would have hit that second standard deviation or second expected move. Now last week, previously, when we were downtrending, NIO closed underneath the second standard deviation and actually hit the third one. So that's why it's important to note where these moves are, because you can get some volatility once we get above that first standard deviation. So I'm going to erase these just because they were from last week, and then you just get your tool out and then you start from where we closed at. Doesn't have to be exact, 484. And as I mentioned, does not have to be anywhere near exact. And once we do that, you take your other tool and then you just draw a line. And that's the top of the move. So the top of the move puts us right above, a little above $50. And then you go to the wick once again and go to the bottom of the move. So it does not have to be perfect, just somewhere along the lines. And then the bottom of the move puts us actually at the top of this zone. So that is also important to note. So just draw your tool. So the bottom of that move puts us right at a little under 30, right at $39. So this is our expected move for this week. Now in previous weeks we've had $7 move, $5 moves, and this week it's only $4.84. So it is a little underneath what it normally is, and that's okay. That means volatility is dying down on the market, and that's good. Hopefully that means that we start uptrending very soon. So this is what we're working with this week, guys. So we have this first move, this first standard deviation. There's a 68% chance that it will stay in between this move this week. Now what we saw previously last week on Friday, we closed above it. So we can potentially close above it this week. We can do the same. So we can close above $50. And then, as I mentioned, what's happened before, once you get above that first move, volatility starts to pick up, and then it can make a mad dash to that second one. We saw that previously, I think it was 2 weeks ago, right in these candles right here. We got underneath that first one, got to that second one, hit right to that third one. So volatility can really ramp up if we start getting real crazy above it. But typically what happens is we just close back underneath that first one. Last week we actually closed slightly above the first one, so that was a-okay. So with this scenario that we actually do get above the first one, make a quick dash to the second one, we do get right at $55. And then what I mentioned in previous NIO videos is what I want to see NIO, I want to see it get back in this range right here. Specifically above $53. So if we actually hit this second standard deviation, then we'll be above the range where I'm talking about, hey, NIO's back in control, the bulls are here, we have completely changed the trend. So this is what the move we're looking at for this week. This is the volatility that we have priced in. So nothing too huge. Now, as I mentioned in other videos that I posted about NIO, NIO's been following the NASDAQ. So really depends on how the NASDAQ is going to do this week. We have a lot of things happening. So stimulus checks are officially hitting bank accounts. So there's a difference between the news that stimulus is happening and actually it hitting the bank accounts. And it's actually hitting the bank accounts, so that money is pouring into the economy. So I do expect to be a good week on the NASDAQ. I want us to end up in this green box. And if we end up in this green box, then NIO will for sure probably end up somewhere close to this box up here, which puts us right at $50.72 and $53 at the top of that zone. So I'm looking for a good week. Now I've talked about that we were in a downtrend, and then we broke it this week. We broke out of it, but we still need confirmation. We still are on the edge right here. Because what could happen is, now I'm not saying this is, we could just fall right back down and then we're back in that downtrend. So you want that confirmation. That's why I was saying to you guys that I really want to see us above $53 because that's really the last high we have. Now, of course, we still have these up here in all-time highs. But once we get above that 53 mark, I do think we are safe. And I do think NIO is on its road to recovery. But we still have quite a ways to go. And then we know what the expected move is for this week. So nothing too big, guys. So hopefully not too much volatility, especially what we were dealing with previous weeks where we were just gapping down every single day. So hopefully, at least for a little bit, we do not have any more of that, at least this week. Other than that, guys, I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did learn something and you're new to the channel, consider hitting the subscribe button. Thank you guys so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.